Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we are diving right into one of the absolute wildest, most frustrating paradoxes in modern American history, the rise and fall of the Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, we're talking about a guy who lied through his teeth about a $1 stock, totally scammed everyday Americans out of millions, and his punishment? Basically 22 months in a minimum security prison that honestly looked more like a country club. And then, just to top it all off, he gets rich all over again when Hollywood decides to turn his massive financial crimes into a blockbuster movie. So this brings us to an incredibly unsettling question. Why do we still cheer for this guy? It's a genuine mystery, right? Because despite leaving his victims with absolutely nothing, literally wiping out their life savings, people still celebrate him as this massive pop culture icon. Today we're going to break down exactly how he built this empire of fraud and why his story reveals something pretty uncomfortable about us. So let's rewind a bit. Jordan Belfort starts out in 1962 in a modest working-class neighborhood in Queens, New York. But he wasn't planning on staying there. By age 16, he's already making 20 grand just selling Italian ices on the beach. But get this, he briefly tries dental school. And on day one, the dean literally tells the class, if you're here to get rich, you're in the wrong profession. So Jordan just stands up, nods, and walks right out. Fast forward to his mid-20s, he's running this door-to-door meat and seafood business. It's pulling in a staggering $100,000 a month, but it eventually just completely drowns in debt and logistical nightmares. But from the ashes of that bankruptcy, Jordan realizes his true superpower. He didn't need a good product. He just needed to know how to sell absolutely anything for a massive payout. So he takes that sales superpower to a legitimate Wall Street firm, diving headfirst into that high-greed culture of the 1980s. But talk about incredibly bad timing. Right as he gets his footing, disaster strikes. It's 1987, Black Monday hits, the global markets completely crash, and Jordan is instantly fired. It looked like his Wall Street dream was over before it even started. But while everybody else is panicking, Jordan pivots. He basically stumbles into this shady, neon-lit corner of the financial world known as penny stocks. These were highly volatile, totally unregulated, tiny companies that serious brokers just completely ignored. It was basically the Wild West of investing. And here is the secret sauce for why Jordan absolutely loved them. On a standard stock trade, a broker made mere pennies in commission. But on penny stocks, the commission was a massive 50%. Jordan realized he could take half of the investor's money right off the top. So yeah, penny stocks quickly became his holy grail.
Armed with this crazy lucrative secret, he starts engaging in pure psychological warfare. He'd use these seductive, perfectly crafted scripts to cold call everyday blue-collar folks. He would confidently promise them a, quote, ground floor opportunity that was going to magically turn a $1 stock into a 10 times return. And he's doing all of this while telling them he's calling from his beach house in Maui. In a single phone call, using this high-pressure manipulation, the guy was closing thousands of dollars.
By 1989, his operation is exploding, and he realizes he needs to legitimize it. So he teams up with this chaotic, fast-talking hustler named Danny Porsche, and they found Stratton Oakmont. Now just listen to that name, Stratton Oakmont. I mean, it sounds like a prestigious 100-year-old British institution, doesn't it? That was exactly the point. The gold lettering on the door projected all this extreme wealth and trust, but the reality? Totally different. It was a trashy, hyper-aggressive boiler room operating out of a strip mall. And this operation had two very distinct sides. First, you've got the brokers. Jordan didn't want Ivy League experience. He wanted raw, desperate hunger. He hired bartenders, college dropouts, neighborhood hustlers, and he trained them up with his ruthless, straight-line persuasion system. Then you look at the victims. You know, unlike the glamorous Hollywood version, they weren't targeting ultra-rich tycoons who could afford a loss. They were relentlessly targeting vulnerable working-class retirees and desperate parents, everyday people. Okay, let's slow down for a second and actually look at the mechanics of this massive securities fraud, which is famously known as the pump and dump. It's actually a pretty simple machine. Step 1. Jordan and his inner circle quietly buy millions of shares of a completely worthless stock for just pennies. Step 2. The pump. He unleashes his army of brokers to call unsuspecting investors, manufacturing this massive fake hype to artificially spike the stock's price. Step 3. The dump. Once the stock hits its absolute peak, Jordan sells all his shares, makes millions, and leaves the investors holding bags of completely worthless paper. And as those millions start rolling in by the early 1990s, the office devolves into absolute madness. The pace of the chaos was just staggering. We're talking a floor fueled by extreme testosterone, $2,000 suits, and frankly, enough heavy narcotics to kill a rhino. Top performers are getting luxury sports cars, massive yachts, private helicopters, and literally having wads of cash thrown at them across the room. Meanwhile, if you underperformed, you faced brutal public humiliation. It was a completely feral environment.
But look, a fire that burns that bright is bound to consume everything around it. Beneath that glossy, chaotic surface, the entire structure was rotting away. Millions of dollars of this stolen money were being illegally smuggled offshore to Switzerland. They were using secret bank accounts and literal human couriers hiding bricks of cash inside their clothes.
And here is the ultimate irony of the whole thing. While a completely unraveling Jordan Belfort is out crashing his luxury sports car while heavily intoxicated, the authorities are quietly closing in. Enter the FBI and specifically Agent Gregory Coleman. While Jordan's out screaming on the trading floor, Coleman is sitting in a quiet office, meticulously tracking every single dollar. He's pulling the wire records, the banking data, and all those seductive telephone scripts. Eventually, the walls close in, and the tension breaks. In late 1996, the federal government raids Stratton Oakmont. Agents storm that strip mall office and start packing up boxes of evidence. The party was abruptly over. Jordan Belfort is suddenly staring down the barrel of up to 30 years in federal prison for money laundering and massive securities fraud.
So, faced with 3 decades behind bars, what does Jordan do? He does exactly what he's done his entire career. He makes the sale, the ultimate sellout. To save his own skin, Jordan wears a hidden wire, cooperates fully with the government, and hands over his partners, his brokers, and his friends. Over 30 of his loyal employees were indicted, and many of them served far more prison time than he ever did. For his cooperation, Jordan serves a mere 22 months in a minimum security prison camp, literally spending his days playing tennis and casually writing his memoirs.
Which brings us to one of the most ironic twists you'll probably ever see. In 2007, he publishes those memoirs as The Wolf of Wall Street. And here's the kicker. The book has 0 real apologies in it. It's just these wild, sensational tales of greed, yachts, and crime. And the public? They absolutely ate it up. The guy who defrauded thousands of working-class people suddenly transforms into this global pop culture icon, a highly sought-after motivational speaker, and a high-paid corporate sales coach. But we really need to ground ourselves for a second here, because this is the devastating sucker punch of the entire story. $110 million. That's the amount Jordan Belfort was court-ordered to pay in restitution to his victims. Yet, to this very day, only a microscopic fraction of that money has ever actually been paid back. We absolutely cannot forget the real victims here. Because while Jordan Belfort got a lucrative Hollywood movie deal, the red carpets, and worldwide fame, the teachers, the military veterans, and the everyday families who lost their entire life savings, they never got a movie deal. And the tragic reality is, most of them never got a single dime of their money back.
I want to leave you with this incredibly revealing quote from Belfort himself. He once famously said, "I was guilty of being greedy, but so is everybody else." It's a pretty chilling thought to end our explainer on today. Did he completely get away with it? Because in a way, our culture secretly admires the hustle no matter the cost. It suggests something profound. Maybe deep down the world didn't actually want to punish the Wolf of Wall Street. Maybe, just maybe, they wanted to be him. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.